Yes, good morning everyone. Yeah, good morning. So, shall we begin the session? Yes, today's topic is the same chapter, chapter number 1, that is part 1 needs assessment. To continue of this one, that is data collection. Alright, let's start the session. So, in the last class, we have started with the part number 1, that is need assessment, and we have studied some topics of this. Let's revise what we have covered in the last class. So we started with the chapter number 1, that is a need assessment. In this, we have studied about the introduction, that is why we are going to assess the things. What is the main motive for doing the assessment? What is the benefit of doing the assessment? So the design of education project that often begins with a phone call or the casual conversation. When I talk about a particular topic that remain understood or a particular environment issues need to be addressed. In that case, we are using the introduction where we are taking the design of education project as a phone call or as a need assessment. So there's a requirement for assessment for making the particular project in a systematic way that is also gaining or that is also taking out the audience interest and the knowledge, agency missions, authorities, and the capacities, whatever the tool that is available, and the significance of the particular environmental conditions or the issues. And it will be very helpful to visualize the need assessment as a form of the gap analysis. What is the gap analysis that we have studied? What is and what would be? That means what is the current scenario and what would be the next scenario. So what is that is going to or for the current situation or the level of the services and the desired, that means what we are going to do, that the desired situation or the level of services. And we analyze the gaps. Project team members need to identify or begin to identify problems, opportunities, strengths, challenges, and the possible new directions. Whatever the new directions, whatever the new possible ways by which we can use to, by which we can assess the things. So through a careful analysis of the existing market, that is the perfect, we can say the new market, there is opportunities for the, or there is assessment of the organization growth, strength, and that also taken out the chance of duplicating the data, whatever the duplicate data that is used to make the efforts of the existing system that is being used. So need assessment in simple terms, that is a process to identify and develop what are the various ways, what are the various technology that is used to getting out or get out the better ways to for the undeserved audiences. And there is also argument that is also occurred that need assessment is a tool for determining valid and useful problems which are philosophical as well as a practical sum. And it also keeps us from running down more blind criterias or educational values from the time bound dollars and the people's in attempted solution which do not work. And whatever the result that is for the need assessment, that is a result that is established, that is used to identify the target audience. And for NOAA, that is NOAA, need assessment should be include a process of the self-agency assessment of the internal strength, what are the internal strength and the weaknesses that is relative to the agency mission and the environmental issue. Whatever the environmental issue that is used to seek the address. Then why there is a requirement of the need assessment, or in simple terms, what is need assessment? So first one is identifies and determine the scope of the social, economic, and the instrumental or environmental conditions. So what are the various social conditions? What are the various economical? Economical in the sense, in terms of the benefit, that is the cost benefit analysis. So identify and determine what are the conditions, what is the scope of the social and the economic and environmental conditions of the issue that needs improvement. So that needs improvement means what is the improvement stage, what is the improvement category, what is the condition by which we can improve anything, improve the current scenario. Then gathers the information. In the need assessment, we also gather the information that is required for filling the gap in the sense what is and what would be. Then helps confirm or negate the assumptions of audience characteristics and appropriate content, defines goals and the objectives, ensures the goals and the objectives that are aligned with the agency's strategic plan and other planning document, whatever the planning document that is used with the stakeholder, that is used with the potential collaborators. So these are the ways of the need assessment. So question might be arise by the need assessment that also includes What are the nature and the scope of the problem? That means what is the main nature, or what are the nature and the scope of the problem? Where is the problem located? What is the main scenario for the problem located? Whom does it affect? And how it affects them? So first of all, what is the nature of the problem? Then what is the scope of the problem? Then where is the problem located? What are the various persons? Who are the various persons that is getting affected by this problem? And how does? How does means how it will affect the peoples. What is it about the problem or its effect that justify new, expanded or modified projects or the programs? Then what visible actions are likely to significantly decide the problem or that are used to gain the problems? Then who is the appropriate target audience? So who is the main target audience in this one? Then who are the stakeholders and the sponsors? Stakeholder in the sense who are the current users and the sponsors over here for the need assessment. Now, next question is why there is a requirement of the need assessment for the project design and the implementation. We agree with the point that need assessment is required, but how it is related or why it is really it is used or why it is very important to the project design and the implementation. So when we talk about the initial idea that is used for the development of education project that may come from a variety of the places, because everything that we are doing is on the basis of the project on the basis of the target audience. And there are also the co-workers. Yes. And there are various opportunities such as availability of the grant funding, publication of the scientific report, or the long-term desire to enhance a strategic partnership that may also spark the project development process. For example, when we share a facility with the Spectrum Science Museum in the Lubbock, Texas, that present the Weather Forecast Office, that is WFO, with an opportunity to showcase the weather sciences. What are the various weather sciences that is used with the Weather Forecast Office? And WFO took advantage of their shaped or shared space and worked with museum staff to design an interactive weather-related exhibit that's the Weather Center. And in this case, in this moment, it must be remembered that not all the projects are timely or the appropriate. And when we conduct a need assessment, that also allows the project managers to take a step back and systematically consider whether or not there is a gap. So consider whether there is a gap that is available or not. And when I talk about the stakeholders, yes, very good. That anyone who have an interest in the goal of your project, who is related to your organization, who is related to your project, that is known as a stakeholder. That may be a participants, that may be customers, that may be a manager, anyone. And there may be a project censors, those individuals or the agencies to whom you are accountable through your project outcomes. And there may also be they also may be partners with similar goals who may or may not receive a direct benefit from the project or from your project. And there are the additional benefits that is also occurred or that also required for including the need assessment as an integral component. So what are the various benefits that is included in the need assessment that requires an integral component or that makes a useful component of the project design and the implementation process? First one is serving the audience. Serving the audience means the audience must be satisfied with the assessment. That may be method, that may be technology, that may be a tool. Education services are more targeted and delivery systems are designed better to reach their intended audience when founded on the data. Whatever the data that is available, when we found on the intended audience rather than the hunches. And because need assessment systematically gathers the data, previously unexpressed needs to be uncovered and consequently the audience can be better served. The audience can be served better, can be used better, can be uncovered. That is serving the audience. The next one is setting the priorities. So for any one problem or the issue, the need is rarely one dimensional. One dimensional in the sense a need assessment helps the project planners to systematically describe the audience that is impacted by the issue and the relationship to the issues as well as underlying causes. And with this level of information, whenever it is using the information, admin and the project planners that also discuss what are the various possible solutions and what are the various combination of the solution that can address the or that can best address the need. That is, what are the various needs that is required by the setting the priorities. The next one is reinventing the wheel. So anytime a new project is initiated, we have to invent, or we have to do the initiate the new project that is a duplicate effort that already take place elsewhere within the agency or the wider community. A need assessment will determine if the material of the project developed elsewhere can be adapted to new conditions with the considerable time, efforts, and the resources that can be saved by taking the stock of what is already existed or what already exists and not falling to the temptation of creating the something new for its own sake. So how it is tempted to for a new provisions that already exist and not falling for the temptation of creating someone that is new for this one. The next one is a resource allocation. The resources are also allocated whatever the problem or the issue. Project planner must confront the budget process sooner or the later, and the administrator will want the documentation to use a decision to substantiate the decisions about which the proposed project should be fully funded, postponed, or the rejected. And by documenting the need for a project and providing the database evidence of how the project will address the need, project managers can make a reasoned case and assist the admin in allocating the resources appropriately. Whatever the resources, whatever the data that is available, that is used in the resource allocation, that is used in the resource commitment. Next is collation of the building. With a well-designed process, with the well-designed criterias, that are highly participatory, and not only the agency staff member that is involved in setting the project priorities, but a wide variety of the stakeholders. There are the wide variety of the stakeholders that are also identified and involved at each step in the process. And whatever the participants, whatever the builders, whatever the stakeholder that also be approached or that cannot be approached as public relation ploy. And the need assessment must be open and welcoming of the ideas and not designed to validate a predetermined course of the actions. Then last point for the need assessment is a strategic planning. So there must be a strategic planning for the content, for the data that must be planned out. What should do, how it is should do, where we are and where we want to go. So there's a powerful strategic planning tool, and first and foremost, our need assessment focus project planner attention on the end goal, whatever the end goal that is used. And by mapping out the current situations, planner have the data to make the decisions that must be realistic decisions, that must be a meaningful goals. And additionally, a project need assessment that can also serve as an important supportory document to the program baseline assessment, that is also known as a programming, planning, budgeting, and the execution system, that is PBBES. So we have to plan, we have to program, we have to make the budget, we have to execute the system. So planning, programming, budgeting, and executing the system. The next one is planning a need assessment, how we are going to plan a need assessment. So a need assessment can be seen as a systematic a criteria, that is what we are going or what is going to do and what would be that going to do, that is current scenario and the latest scenario that is going to carry it out. And the need assessment process can be time consuming, and with most of the processes that involves multiple stakeholders and the multi-factored issues, whatever the factored issue that must be complex, that can be used. And there is an outline of the 13 steps that is involved in conducting the need analysis. What are the 13 steps that is used over here? Now, any doubt in these 6 points? That is, what is the various importance of the need assessment, why it becomes an integral component of the project design? Any doubts, anyone? So just do one thing, read out this one, and if there is any doubt, then please ask the doubt first of all, because this is one of the main important point, 6 point, because this becomes a base for next topics. Next part is planning a need assessment. How to plan a need assessment, this category. The same, there is a gap between the what is and what should be. So we have to fill the gap by making a planning for the need assessment. Planning in the sense how we are plan out. What are the various conditions? What are the various technology? What are the requirement of the planning a need assessment? There are 13 steps of conducting a need assessment. Now let's see. These are the various factors that are the basic to the successful need assessment. That is, keep in mind the value and the necessity. What is the value? What is the necessity of the broad-based participation by the stakeholders? Then choose an appropriate means of gathering the information about the critical issues. What are the various appropriate means by which we can gather the information, by which we can use the critical issues and the other data? Then recognize the information or the core values in the group whose needs are being assessed. The need assessment is a participatory process. Hello? Hello? Are you able to hear me? Hello? Hello? Yeah, my voice is audible to you? All right. So the next point is need assessment is a participatory process. That is not something that is done to the people. That is a participation. Everyone is going to participate in this one. The need assessment also carried out or also ignores a political factor. Some people maybe view the process as a causing a loss of the control. The priorities must be given to encounter for the various ideas in the systems. And whatever the gathering requirement, whatever the method that is used, that are not the need assessment method, it is a total decision making process in which the data